So I apologize for my video earlier having bad audio. Not sure what's going on. But with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about this. So Sports Illustrated posted their over-under predictions for all 32 teams in the league. And as I said yesterday, and I'll say it again, we have to prove these teams or these organizations, these sports networks, quote unquote, we got to prove everyone wrong. And so far, the last 2 years, we went 9-8. So we didn't prove anyone wrong. And as long as we don't prove anyone wrong, they have the right to talk crap about us because we missed the playoffs the last 2 years. After being one of the most dominant teams in the league, taking care of the Kansas City Chiefs, we have fallen off. And at the end of the day, you know what? We just got to get back to work and figure things out. And this season has to be our season. So, with that being said, it is what it is at the end of the day. Sports Illustrated is going to crap all over us. But again, it's because we messed up. At the end of the day, we didn't get the job done. So they have the Arizona Cardinals going 8.5 wins over. So, for example, Vegas says the over-under. Or, for example, DraftKings here. DraftKings gives the over-under, and then they give their prediction whether they think it's going to hit the over or the under. So they think the Cardinals are going to get more than 8.5 wins. Cardinals are a weird team. If Marvin Harrison Jr. has a really good breakout season, I think they could definitely. Their division is kind of wonky because the 49ers aren't really the scariest team anymore. The Rams, kind of in the middle of the pack. They obviously are probably going to start getting good again. I mean, they made the playoffs last year, but I mean, like, back to when they won the Super Bowl in 2020. Seahawks, we'll see if Sam Darnold is the guy. And then again, the Cardinals are an interesting team. That's like the best way to put it. I think there's a couple of teams like that in the NFL. The Falcons are a good example of that as well, where it's like you look at the team and you're like, could this be a playoff team? Absolutely, yes. Could this also be a team that doesn't make the playoffs? Absolutely, yes. That's kind of where I see the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Panthers are kind of in that perspective right now. I think the Bears are in that perspective right now, where it's like you don't know what to expect, but if they did great and had a fantastic season, I don't think too many people would be like, wow, that's crazy. I can't believe they had a fantastic season, right? Because they're kind of in the middle of the pack road. Ravens, 11.5 wins. They have them going with the over. Yeah. I think Ravens go 11-6, 12-5. That's kind of like my prediction for them. So, it wouldn't shock me too much. Buffalo Bills, over 11.5 wins. Again, that's a division that's very, very easy for the Bills. Miami is their biggest competition, and Miami, obviously, we'll see how that works out. Tua usually can't stay healthy for the whole entire season. So if he can't stay healthy for the whole season, then that's going to really hurt them greatly. So Miami is their biggest threat, I would say, because the Jets are not going to be a threat. The Patriots might be, though. I think we got to keep an eye out on the Patriots. I think the Patriots will maybe one more season before they start getting back to the old success ways. But Jets, I don't think are going to be anything good. And Miami, again, Tua's health is really what depends there. I think the Patriots, in all honesty, I think they go something like 8-9. But again, Buffalo, yeah, they pretty much have that under control. Carolina Panthers, 6.5 wins, over. Again, they're another team that, like I said, with the Falcons and the Cardinals, where I'm kind of split with them. I want to sit here and say, yeah, the Panthers going to suck, but that's just not the fact. The fact is they are going to go as far as Bryce Young looks good. Chicago, under 8.5 wins. Okay. Again, they're another team that... Could I see the Chicago Bears going 5-11? Yes. Could I see them going 10-6 and making the playoffs? 10-7 make the playoffs? Absolutely. They're a weird team because now they have Ben Johnson, new, head coach. They're still not the greatest ownership-wise, but they do have good coaching now, which, okay. Bengals, 9.5 wins. Now, before we get into this, I will say this one thing, right? If you're looking at metrics over the last 2 years, like if a robot looked at our seasons and gave a logistical opinion on what we were going to finish with this year, it would probably have us go 9-8 because of the fact that we went 9-8 the last 2 years. And based on statistics, you look at, okay, did the Bengals get so much better this offseason that they would have gone above 9-8? And the answer to that question is no. We didn't go crazy better because guess what? Trey Hendrickson might not play next season. And if Trey doesn't play, we're going to be in a very bad spot. And that's going to definitely damper our season. That's why I've said many times at this point, it's worth it more to just go ahead and pay Trey, give him the extra couple $1 million just to get this whole situation wiped out and not worry about it going into the season. But at the end of the day, that's not how they work. The Bengals work on principle. They don't work on logic. They work on emotion. They don't work on statistics. That's just how the front office goes. So they have us going under, which obviously, again, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, we have to prove them wrong. We have to prove that we can go over. And we haven't done that the last 2 years. And as long as we don't prove anything, we could sit here all day and say we're going 16-0, 17-0. But it doesn't matter because that's all say so, right? We need to prove it. And Trey not playing this season is definitely going to hurt that. Anyway, it says, don't let this team fool you into going over just because they have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Which I think is an idiotic statement to start with, to be honest, because, listen, at the end of the day, that's the reason why we would go over, is because of those two guys. Also, T. Higgins needs to be in there as well. But that's, yeah. The Bengals had one of the best offenses in the league, but only produced 9 wins and missed the postseason due to a poor defense. Yeah, I think last year there was a little bit more than that. There was also special teams sucked. We could not kick field goals to save our life. Our punt return and kick return squads weren't the greatest. Like, everything but offense worked. Everything but, let me not even say offense. Everything but Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins worked. And Mike Gesicki. Everything else didn't work. Our run game was crap. Our running backs got injured left and right. Our offensive line was crap. Like, outside of those said players, and then Eric All went down for the season, obviously, everything else didn't work. It's not just like, oh, well, the offense was clicking. No, we could not run the ball. If our offense is clicking, we can run the ball. If our offense is clicking, we can protect Joe Burrow. We weren't doing anything but, again, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and Mike Gesicki. Cincinnati didn't do much to improve their defense, and there's a chance edge rusher Trey Henderson isn't on the roster by week 1. Now, this is a complete lie. He will be on the roster by week 1. We're not going to cut him, and we're not going to trade him. At the end of the day, we did do a huge thing to improve our defense, and that was we got rid of Lou and we got Al Golden. Al Golden is, in my opinion, one of the best defense coordinators, going to be one of the best defense coordinators in the NFL. I'm very excited to see how he does with us. And we also got rid of our defensive line and linebacker coach. And we got new guys there as well. So I think what we did this offseason from a player perspective is we did not update much. But what we did do is we updated our coaching. And that's going to be something we're going to see if it works out or not. I mean, at the end of the day, only time will tell. But it's very possible that, coaching could be the biggest issue. Bill Belichick actually has a famous quote that says, players win games, coaches lose them. That's what Bill has always said throughout his whole entire career was players win games for you, coaches lose games for you. And we'll see. We'll see how this ends up turning out. But at the end of the day, I understand the perspective of under 9.5 wins because we haven't proven it. And if you're going based on what we have proven, we have not proven we are a playoff team the last 2 years because we did not make the playoffs. Now, at the end of the day, it is what it is. All we have to do is prove it this season, right? Prove it this year and move forward. Because everything else is just say so, talk. As they say, talk is cheap. Let's not worry about it. Browns under 4.5 wins. Ooh, that would be hilarious. Dallas Cowboys over 7.5 wins. Okay. Denver Broncos under 9.5 wins. I disagree with that. I think the Broncos are going to be really good this season. Lions over 10.5 wins. Okay. Packers under 9.5 wins. I think Tom Grossi had them go 11-6. So that's kind of interesting. Texans 9.5 wins. Over. Colts 7.5 wins under. Jacksonville Jaguars over 7.5 wins. Chiefs under 11.5 wins. Okay. Raiders over 6.5 wins. Chargers over 9.5 wins. Yeah, but are they going to get to the playoffs and then charger it up? That's the question. Rams over 9.5 wins. Okay. Miami Dolphins under 8.5 wins. It comes down to Tua. If Tua can stay healthy, then they're going to be successful. J.J. McCarthy over 8.5 wins. Okay. Under 8.5 wins for the Patriots. Saints under 6.5 wins. Over 5.5 wins for the Giants. Jets are 5.5 over 5.5 wins. Philadelphia Eagles over 11.5 wins. Steelers under 8.5 wins. Please, please, please let this be true. 49ers, they're going to go with the under 10.5 wins. Seahawks under 8.5 wins. Under for the Bucks. Under for the Tennessee Titans. Oh, Brian's going to get fired. If this is the case, Brian's going to get fired. If they go under 5.5 wins, like, you're going to get fired. Even though you have a rookie quarterback, and usually rookie quarterbacks can somewhat save the job of a coach, no, you're going to get fired. If you're back-to-back awful seasons, he's going to get fired, and he might become our OC again. Who knows? Guys, tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. See you guys next one. Peace.
Because he came in here, it'd been cool if he just came in here and was cool about it. Then he's all invasive with our process and trying to get involved and overstep his boundaries. And then he ate Tom's pasta on his plate and then blamed me for it. And I'm not supposed to get upset about it?
I went out to go use the bathroom, Bob, and then while I was gone, the plate of pasta that I had suddenly